Okay,
All
yeah,
right.
I see it.
Okay. Amazing. All right. So like the first part is just gonna be me because it's recorded for the episode. But yeah, we'll get started. All right. Joining me today on this episode is Gabby. She's an upcoming freshman at Case Western Reserve University. Hey Gabby, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. What about you?
I'm good. It's June 25th. I think the summer has gone by really, really fast. I know leaving college, I was like, oh God, it's only May 8th. But like now it's June, almost July next week. So I'm like, I'm kind of excited. I like that the summer's passing by fast. But how's your summer going?
My summer's been pretty busy. I've been working every day, trying to get that money for college. I'm also going to a festival in the beginning of August, so I'm really been working like all the time, and I'm actually taking these math classes for Case Western, so that's been taking
Okay.
up
What
my week too.
what math classes are you taking?
I think I'm taking the pre-calc math class, math 120.
Okay. I think I had a friend who took it like you do, I think you do like a placement test or something, and then like you do like the
Yeah,
after that. Yeah.
the
Yeah.
placement test and everything. Yeah.
I heard some things about those classes. I was like, no, please.
No.
Please. Yeah, no, I totally understand about the getting the money part. Like I think one thing I underestimated was how much I'll blow through money in college. Because I came in with like I was like, oh yeah, I've got a ton of money. I'm fine. I think by December it was gone. I was like,
Oh no.
but
I
yeah,
definitely
like
think I definitely think
yeah,
I'm gonna
just
ask my parents for a little bit of money.
just a little bit,
When
just a little bit.
just a little bit when my money goes down.
Yeah, definitely. Because so much stuff comes up. But yeah, yeah. So I'm just gonna get right to it. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself?
So my name is Gabby, short for Gabrielle. Um, I am attending Case Western University, Case Western Reserve University. I will be attending in the fall, and I plan to major in biology on the pre-med track. I'm still a little bit iffy about it, but I do know that I want to attend med school. So yeah. I went to Grace King High School. I was the last class. Um, and I graduated as salutatorian, which was a very interesting experience. Very interesting. But yeah, and here I am now.
Yeah, I can definitely understand when you say it's definitely interesting experience to get in the top 10. I mean, personally, I wasn't in the top 10, but I just from your guys' class of 23 year in general, I was following on social media, like our rival school for my high school personally, our rival school had 10 to 12 valedictorians. And like when I graduated, there were four valedictorians, and then the class below us had two. And I'm just like, I
Oh wow.
don't, yeah. So I can definitely understand what you mean by it's interesting. It's an
Yeah.
interesting little system. Congratulations on everything, congratulations on
Thank you.
graduating. Just it's amazing, everything that's getting done. Yeah.
It was a very interesting experience. Yeah, very competitive. There was a lot of pressure at the end of the year because there was someone competing for my rank. And it was a lot of pressure. Definitely had to
But
try
yeah,
hard at classes.
you're here. You're here. You got it. So
I got it.
it was worth it. Yeah.
It was worth it.
So, speaking of really, interesting processes and just sort of journeys, this past year you've been on a really interesting journey to college through the Posse Foundation. Can you elaborate a little bit more on this process? Like, how did you feel? How did you prepare and anything of that sort?
Well, actually, I've heard of Posse before I was nominated for it. My friend, he had Posse before me. He got into Hamilton with it, so he kind of just like told me that like you should take advantage if you get nominated for Posse because like it really is like helpful. So yeah, he told me about a little bit about it, and then I think I want to say like August or September. It was the beginning of the school year. That's all I know. I wasn't originally nominated, but because my school, they had this meeting, I want to say, and they brought back like all the Posse nominees and everything, and I wasn't invited. But my friends, they went up to the counselor and was like, "Where's Gabby?" And so they managed to get me nominated for Posse. So I really want to thank my friends for that, because if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be here. But the beginning was, it was pretty stressful. I want to say the first app, it was actually very nice though. I met a lot of good friends, and a lot of them I still talk to now, you know. Really good friendships that I've made. Second and the third app, they were a little bit more stressful. I mean, the second app, you kind of had to establish what college you wanted to go to. Um which I was kind of already set on Case Western, because they were probably like the best one medically wise, like, minus Tulane, but I didn't really want to stay in state. Um, and the third app, I think I want to say I like the third app the most. I mean, it's the most stressful, but you know, you kind of like meet the people that you might actually be going to college with, you know. So that was really nice, and yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally like it's so interesting to hear you talk about it because even though we're like a year apart from the DAP experience, our listeners know that I'm a Posse scholar as well. And I'm Posse 6, so right above her. And just hearing the different experiences, it's the same thing, but so different. Like you were talking about in DAP 1, how you were able to like actually like meet these people and talk with them. Ours was like on Zoom with like 50 people, 60,
Oh my.
75 people, I want to say. It was like hearing the people before me that went through Posse and hearing people like you go through Posse. I'm like, I like this is so foreign to me. Like the only time it was in person for me was DAP 3. And
Mm.
I'm trying to remember, like it was like it wasn't that long ago, but like it was that long ago. And like I think that was the only one I had in person. Like I remember like you said, like I remember all the people there, like because you're right, like these are the people that you're potentially going to college with. Like I have a friend, he was there in the interview with me and we sat next to each other and I'll never like forget like us like looking over like, oh, do you want to go to college with that person? Like do you want to be here with this person? So it's definitely, I think it's a really interesting experience, like starting from like very first interview, like first interview, I think for me, what the most stressful one actually was the first one because there was just so many people in the Zoom, and I was like, it's online school. I already can't unmute. Like I already
Yeah.
get scared to unmute everything. This is not gonna go well for me. And like we had to like write an essay that was like in 30 minutes. It was
I
weird. It was definitely weird.
remember that.
And yeah, I think it's just a really unique experience. It's very nerve-wracking, but like I think once you get more comfortable, I think Posse does a really good job of making you feel comfortable and kind of taking that and rolling with it. And then just the rest is history, you know, you make it or you don't make it after at that
Yeah,
point. Yeah.
it's really different from, you know, other interviews and things, you know, like I want to say they kind of like, they're really youthful about it. Like other interviews, they kind of address you as like an adult, like you're approaching your adult stage. But Posse, they kind of like, I want to say they're still addressing you as you were a teenager, but they want to make sure you have a good future, you know?
Right.
Um but I like addressing what you said about the first app. It was definitely stressful. Yeah. I never heard that we were gonna do an essay. So when they said we're doing an essay in like 30 minutes, I was like, what? But the topics that they gave us, like there was like one topic where you just write about anything you want to write, and I just wrote about what I wanted to write. And it was really nice though. I want to say, yeah, it was hard because in the other dapps you kind of already opened up to yourself before, so you're more comfortable opening up. But in the first app, you know, you're seeing these people for the first time, you don't know them, you know, so it's really hard to open up in the first time than, you know, second time when you see them already, you know.
Right, right. I think that's also I think a point where I struggled. Like I'm a person where I'm like, if I don't know you, I'll be cordial and say hi. Like funny, I was just talking with like my best friend about this last night. I was like, yeah, if I meet you for the first time, I'm gonna be hi, I'm gonna say hi and be cordial, but you're not gonna hear me like speak at all. But
Yeah.
like once I like know you for like the second time, I'm like, okay. I feel like you'll actually see my
Yeah.
personality. So I think that was a really big like thing for me. I'm like, I don't know you people, so I don't know how Posse's gonna see like my personality and everything. But Yep, apparently they did. Apparently they did. So,
They did.
oh well, they did. So who knows? Who knows what they thought? I don't know. I think the entire process, like going through it, um, my school was like a big feeder school for nominating people. So I was lucky enough to go in with a lot of people, like, okay, we're going through this together. How was your interview? Like exchange, like things like that. Like some people had their interview before mine, and like I was kind of like a mid interview because it was spread out during 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Actually, well, my interview was a hurricane, which is why there was more drama involved
Oh,
and why it was
wow.
more elongated. Because like my interview was supposed to be in August, and then we had a hurricane that took us out for the entire month. So it just all got pushed back. So I just remembered that. Like I didn't even remember that. Like just talking about Posse, just more and more keeps rising up that I keep remembering. But I think having like that group of people to talk with it, talk about it through it, I think helped me make me more comfortable. Like if you see like your friends and like the interviews, I feel like you're like, okay, here's somebody that I trust here in this interview. It makes it easier for me to like open up and like, okay, this isn't so scary, you know?
Yeah.
So Posse has a very unique way on informing you about that you got the scholarship. I like distinctly remember mine. Like I remember I told my friend, I was like, I'm not getting it. Like I walked out, I said, I hope you have fun at Case Western. I'm not getting it. But then I remember like I got a text from like our Posse trainer. He was like, can you get on a Zoom for a couple more questions? I was like, it's 10 o'clock at night. I just took a shower. But what can you walk us through the moment that you were told, like, hey, you won the scholarship, or like even the moments leading up to it, like I did, like the text, like, oh, did he on Zoom? No, I just got out of the shower. So what were you feeling when leading up to this moment?
Okay, so I just like you, I remember the moment clearly. I was in my first period class, which is like, really early, 8 a.m. or something like that. And I got a text from one of the people who was in the third DAP. And they told me they're like, yeah, one of my friends, like they just got like the Posse scholarship. Did you get like a call or like an email or anything? And I was like, no, I didn't. And then he told me to check my portal. So I checked my portal, just to see if I got like a message or anything. But I realized that the portal changed because the portal for nominees and the portal for scholars were different. But back then, I didn't know that. So I'm just looking at it, I'm like, why does it say Posse Scholar? That's so weird. And, I didn't want to get my hopes up at the time. So I was just like, no, maybe they just updated the portal or something. Like, this is changed for everybody. And then that's when I also had another friend who he went to the same school as me, but he was running for Notre Dame. And he told me, he was like, yeah, I checked my portal, but I didn't get it. And mine's is different from yours. And I was like, that's really weird. And I was like, I'm still not gonna get my hopes up though. And that's when I got home because I have early release, so I get home at maybe like 1 or something like that. And I got home, and so I decided to take a nap. And then that's when I get a phone call and I wake up. It wakes me up from my nap. And I wake up and I'm like, hello. And I don't think I had the number saved yet. So I answer it and they're like, hey, is this Gabby? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, congratulations, you're a Posse scholar. And I was like, what? I was like, are you joking right now? Like, I was like, don't joke with me because this is serious. And that's when they were like, no, we're not joking. I think it was Dewey. Dewey told me.
Oh,
But
Dewey.
yeah, yeah, Dewey called me.
Oh,
He was
Dewey.
like, congratulations. And I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And then that's when both of my parents were home. So then that's when I opened my door like all the way. I just got on my knees and I was like, I got into college.
Oh my gosh. Wait, so this was the day after the interview?
No, I want to say we got interviewed. I think I want to say we got interviewed first, right? So
Mhm.
we couldn't tell anybody that we had the Posse because there were still other people that were getting interviewed for
Yeah.
other schools. So I think we got told, I want to say like early December.
Mhm.
Early December.
Okay.
Yeah. I say early December because we had our award ceremony like January. But early
Okay.
December we were told, and then they told us, don't say anything because everybody else is getting interviewed still. But
Right.
yeah, it was pretty nice, and I remember the moment. It's a core memory of mine.
Yeah, I think just for everybody, I think it's just the core memory. I remember like you got a phone call. Like I remember our class got like a Zoom call because I remember we joined the Zoom and I remember my friend Ava, she was after me and she texts me while I'm waiting in the waiting room. She goes, "Are you in a waiting room right now?" And I was like, "I'm in the waiting room." I told her, and to this day, she like teases me for it. She's like, "You spoiled the surprise for me." I was like, "Come on. If you're in a waiting room, you know that you got it." And she's like, "But you still spoiled it for me." So I think for everybody, it's just a really core and unique experience, just knowing like, oh my God, like especially in like December and November. This is like I found out like 5 days after my birthday, actually. Like the interview was on the November 30th, and my birthday is November 25th. So I was like going into the interview, I was like, please, please let me have a great birthday and like get this scholarship. So like definitely, I think it takes a lot of weight off your shoulders, especially like in December, knowing, okay, like I've got a full tuition scholarship to college of my choice. And I know for me, like Case Western was like my top choice, like regardless over quarantine, I like discovered them and like I was like, oh my God, okay, I have to go here and like found Posse. And I was like, okay, this is how I'm gonna get here. And so it was a very full circle moment to be like, oh, finally, like got into college, got Case Western where I want to be. So
Right.
I definitely like I totally understand the feeling of you like getting on the knees your knees, like, oh my God, like I totally get that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like the weight, like once you like understand that you're in a college now and that you have a full tuition, the weight that falls off your shoulders, it just feels so nice. Like you don't have to worry about your expenses that much. You don't have to worry about what college you're going into because Posse, Posse set that up for you. So
Yeah, definitely,
it was really
definitely. And then
nice.
even then, like there are other like factors involved too. Like I remember I was like thinking about it. Like I'm a person that thinks about hypothetical situations way too much, but I was like, if I don't make Posse, I'm gonna have to go to college and know nobody. Like I won't know anybody at all. How am I gonna make friends? This is so hard. Like even at Case, I was like, how am I gonna do this? But I think with Posse, I was like, okay, at least I know 9 other people that are going with me.
Yes, yes.
So definitely that was a big factor. I was like, thank God, 9 people. So I'm not completely friendless. I have 9 other people. So I think
Yeah.
that's another thing that I was really relieved about. I was like, thank God, I couldn't do the whole start over thing again.
Just the thought of going through like that long of the interview process and then waiting for that singular moment, like it's just like it's very, I don't know the word, it's just very, it makes you happy because you went through all that and then you finally know the answer.
Right,
All that hard
definitely.
work finally earned up to something.
Right. And all the waiting
The
especially is like
waiting.
what the waiting game. Like you were talking about the PC portal changing for you. Like I'm laughing at that because that is so funny because it's like I think it happens like every year, like where I remember I didn't look at my portal, but somehow me and my 2 other friends who were going through the Posse scholarship, me and my friend Eric, who's in Case right now, and our other friend Teresa, who went for Tulane, we would look through the portal and somehow, I don't even know if I'm supposed to be saying this, but somehow we found like scores in our portal. Like I don't know how I stumbled across it to this day. I was like, guys, do you have a score? And like we're like looking through these scores and like I don't think we were supposed to see that at all. But somehow our entire posse got in on it. They were like, oh my God, what's your score? What's your score? So like I definitely like how like it doesn't change with like each posse, how we're looking and we're like let's find a little loophole to find out how we got in. But
Oh
yeah, like
no.
the posse portal didn't change for me until like I think the day after because I was like, what does my posse portal say? Like it still said, congrats, you made it to the third round. So like they're definitely up in their game. They're jumping
Yeah,
jumping the
most
gun.
definitely. I found out
They
before
def-
they even called me, so
Yeah, so I didn't have time for that. Like our interview ended at like 8 p.m. Went home, ate dinner while I was trying to like not like hype myself up too much. I was like, I already walked to the interview saying, yeah, no, I'm not gonna get it. And just like, okay, let's not
right.
feel too sad. Let's not feel too sad. Like, don't feel sorry for myself. And then like getting the call at like 10 p.m. I'm like, oh, okay. So definitely an interesting experience. Very interesting. And like I'm very thankful for the entire process as well. Like I remember being so frustrated, like having to wait so long. Like that's like from August to December. Like that's a
Yeah.
whole semester. So I'm like, please. But very thankful in the end. Very thankful in the end.
Yeah. And then, like it's kind of like risky because you're putting in all your effort into this one college that, you might not even get into.
Right.
So you might not be searching up backup colleges or anything like that. See, I had some colleges in mind, but I wasn't that invested into it as I was into Case Western. And it was really risky, but and the wait, like after every single DAP, like the first DAP, the second DAP, waiting for that email. I remember like when I was getting into the second DAP, I got an email when I was in Walmart, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I've been accepted into the second DAP. It was just like every memory was memorable. It was very nice.
Right. I'm trying to remember. Like, I don't remember locations where I was for DAP 1 and DAP 2, but I do remember like what I think it's just I think I talk too much with other people, but like I just follow so closely with my friends. I was like, did you get the email? Like, did you get this? So I definitely remember that aspect of it. Like I remember getting an email for DAP 2 and being like, did you get the email? And he's like, oh, yeah, I just got the email. Did you? So that's like I think that's my core memories leading up to DAP 3, and that DAP 3 like actually the main core memory, I think, for me. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
So now you're a Posse scholar. You've been a Posse scholar for about 6 months now. So like how has it been? How's Dewey been? I know for our listeners, they don't know exactly who Dewey is, but I guess for a little introduction, Dewey is our Posse trainer. So all posses have two trainers that follow them through their journey in college, before college. It's called pre-collegiate training. And they just, they have discussions with you. About college, what you might expect in college, what you might experience in college, things like that. And Dewey is one of our trainers, and Dewey is definitely an interesting character. Um, Definitely very interesting. He's an interesting person. So how has it been with Dewey and Taylor?
So Dewey hasn't been attending our meetings because he's a busy man. Um,
Oh,
yeah, he's a busy man now. It's a busy man. So Taylor's been leading the I want to say the meetings and stuff. But it's really nice so far. I want to say like we all really understand each other. Like during the meetings, you kind of address like very sensitive topics, but we're all very open to like everyone's like ideas and everything. Like recently we were talking about gender roles, and I want to say we have like four or three guys. I think I want to say three guys. We have three guys in our posse, and then the seven of us are girls. But we're all very open to each other's ideas and what we have to say, and we're all very respectful. Like we have boundaries, but we also are open to crossing those boundaries, talking to each other, because we know we're going to be with each other for 4 years. So we definitely want to open up to each other, and we already opened up to each other in the third DAP, so why not open up some more, you know?
right.
But it's been going really nice. I want to say we're really close now. We all like keep in touch. We've been keeping in touch in the group chat like almost every day. Um, when we have the, I want to, what are they called? The meetings of like all the colleges. When we have the meetings of all the colleges, like you can definitely tell that we really keep each other close together, and we make sure none of us are left out because we have some introverts and we have some extroverts, but they both tie together. It's really nice. I love my posse.
Yeah, I love hearing about that. Like definitely like it reminds me of like our own posse where, we have a group chat. It's called the yelling place to this day. I don't know why it's called the yelling place. I think we yelled actually no, I do, because during our meetings over the summer and like during the school year, we had two posses going on. It was Illinois Westland and our posse. And like Illinois Westland, like you didn't hear them on the opposite side of the wall. You heard the Case Western posse, and like we were always yelling about something.
I feel like
So
that too. We have Illinois Wesleyan too, and we never hear them. I think it's just us. I think it's just the case. We're very
yeah,
loud
we just bring
people.
the energy. We just bring the energy. I think that's
Yeah.
what it is. But yeah, like we talk in the group chat, and like I think like I'm really thankful for like I'm like Posse. I like that Posse has like that factor where you get to like meet with these people continuously throughout like 6 months. It's not like, okay, you met them at DAP 3 and now okay, we'll wait till you get to college and then you can talk to them. Like you continue to build that relationship from DAP 3. And I remember like we started like of course like it's like we were on Zoom and we were like, I don't really know you, but like you soon get more and more comfortable with them and like talk about these things. And I remember the gender roles conversation. And I think we also had another conversation. Like I remember one on like abortion and And I remember one, like, oh, Dewey. I did not know Dewey was a busy man now these days, but I remember he was like, you guys are going to experience. I don't remember exactly what he said we were going to experience, but I remember distinctly
I
he was
think he
like,
talked to us about that before. Yeah, he was like, "You guys are gonna
oh,
experience these, like, I know what you're talking about."
oh,
'Cause
wow.
he told us
So
the same thing, but
this is very funny to me that he's using this as an example because I remember he was like, you guys something. And I remember he asked us, he was like, yeah, you guys aren't gonna have boyfriends and girlfriends. And I looked at him and I said, Dewey, no, no. And I remember I
not
just had a meeting
me.
with him like 2 weeks ago. And he's like, so remember my question I asked like back in July and I was like, which question? He goes, about the boyfriends. And I said, no, Dewey. I didn't lie when I said that. It's like, no, I don't. So definitely I as much as Dewey sometimes just really, really annoys me, I'm really thankful for him and Taylor, especially as Posse mentors and Posse trainers to just, follow me through my journey. I think that's the main thing that I really appreciate about them is them follow like it's not like I have to, hey, I meet these people for like August through July when I move in and then I never hear from them again. I appreciate like hearing from them and like getting to share my experiences with them, I think is a really big thing that I'm grateful for.
Yeah, and they really push you to, open up about sensitive things. And I feel like the posse, like we really need to open up about those things because, sometimes we might clash, but it's best to do it right now. And both of us have an understanding before we get into college.
Right, right. So speaking of clashing, I remember I don't want to go like into specifics or details, but I remember like there was a moment in like our posse where we did clash. Well, there are multiple instances, but one of the main ones like being like in our meetings. And I remember like in that moment, there are some things, especially after that moment and like after like, a big thing that we had in that like conflict that we had. I think there were some parts where I was like, I really not regret Posse, but I'm like, I don't really like this part of Posse. Is there anything that you like regret about the scholarship, or like do you regret like taking case, or like do you not enjoy like some aspects of Posse?
I want to say the one thing I don't know, it's not really bad or it's not really something blaming on Posse, but it's just the fact that I'm going away. I'm leaving all these people behind and it's really hard. Like I know I'm going to have 9 people with me, but it's just like the people I grew up with, like I have a best friend who I've grown up with for like 10 years and just leaving him, it makes me really sad. And sometimes I used to think like what if I pull out of Posse and what if I go to college here? I don't want to leave my family behind. I don't want to leave my friends behind. But my family told me that I need to take this opportunity and I need to reach out and network and embrace it and meet new people because I can't just stay here forever. And yeah, they're really right about that. Anything else that I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I regret. I don't think there is anything else. No, nothing else really.
I promise I'm not going to tell them. Gonna
No,
tell them.
no, I really don't.
Yeah, no, I definitely understand like what you're talking about with like moving so far away, like especially like choosing Case Western. So we're both originally from the New Orleans area, so I'm moving all the way from the south to the north. It's definitely a big change. I think like biggest thing I was really shocked by was like I guess I didn't realize how much like southern hospitality and like southern like I guess culture is instilled in me because I go up there and I do these things that I normally do at home and I'm shocked. I'm like, why are these people like I'm like smiling to people on the street and they kind of look at me like who are you and like I can't like being down here for the summer I now like I still smile at everybody. I'm like, oh my god, hi, how are you? And it's just so strange to me again where I'm like, oh god, thank you, they're smiling at me again. So it's definitely a big culture shock. And like you know I knew I was like I have to go out of state, like I can't stay here forever, but I definitely understand like not wanting to leave the life that you've like had for like the past like 18 years of your life and leave that behind. I definitely felt that with like, these people that I just graduated with. I've known them since like I was like 5 years old, 6 years old. So I'm like, what is life without these people? You know, what is life without, you know, that group of people where you're like, you guys are just so funny. You make school really interesting. Like, how do you get through that? But I think definitely it's all part of like growing up and just like, I think that's the beauty of college, just going away and like finding yourself and like finding a life and getting into the rhythm of things without, you know, the familiarness of everything and just, you know, finding something new and finding something else you enjoy and a new group of people, definitely.
Most definitely. Yeah, I'm really excited to grow with my posse and just meet new people because I know that I have to let go of this place sometime. And I really think it's going to be the best for me, especially the weather. I hate the weather here. It's so humid outside. It's so hot. Like I'm just done.
I think
I'm
today
really
was like
excited.
99.
Yes, I'm really excited for the weather change. um, Wait, to go back on something I regret about Posse, I just remembered something. Just the meetings every week. Um, it was just it's really I'm not the only one. It was my Posse too, but like it just gets really hard sometimes because a lot of us have things to do, whether it be
Mm,
work or like plans that we had. It's really hard for all of us to get together sometimes. Um, and then just like going there every week, it's a real struggle. The
yeah.
gas, the parking, real
Parking
struggle.
$10 a week. Like for our listeners, like our posse meetings are 2 hours long every week on like whatever day that you picked in like December or whenever you got the scholarship. They're like, what day works for you? At the time, Tuesday did work for you. But I know for me personally, I was like, yeah, Tuesdays work for me, not realizing, oh, wait, like I have a busy schedule and things are going to change. And I remember one of our posse meetings, thank God it was over Zoom. But I remember our soccer team got to playoffs and playoffs was 5 hours away. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to a posse meeting. Like, you can't expect me to sit here and go to a posse meeting. But thank God it was on Zoom. So, like, I did have my posse meeting on the bus and miss like first half of my soccer game. But like, definitely the time commitment. I was like,
Yeah.
2 hours to sit here and look at each other and talk. Like, we could talk on the phone, guys. Like, I
Right.
definitely the time constraint, and I think the the commitment of it, definitely, like, there are some moments where I'm like, the people, like, Questbridge people don't have to do this much, and it's a full ride. But
Mhm.
I think definitely I totally understand about the time and having to pay $10 every week. Thank God I don't have to pay $10 this summer. I remember, like, I came back, I was like, "Are we having meetings every summer, guys? Like, I can't afford $10
No.
a week." And they were like, "No, we don't have meetings." I said, "Thank God. Thank you." But yeah, definitely understand, yeah. So, what advice do you have for any rising seniors wanting to go to one of the Posse partner schools? So, whether like, you know, our New Orleans listeners wanting to go to like Tulane, Notre Dame, things like that, or even like, you know, there's Posse for California and Posse for Boston and other areas. So, what advice do you have for any of these rising seniors looking to get into these Posse partner schools and begin their process in the fall?
Okay. The first thing I want to say is I know a lot of people probably said this to him before already, but the first thing I want to say is definitely be yourself. Posse doesn't really focus on just your academics. They also focus on your personality and your leadership skills. So definitely be yourself. You were nominated for a reason. Show them why you were nominated for a reason. Open up. If you have to, trauma dump. But you know what? Don't trauma dump just like to trauma dump, but also tell them like how this changed you, how you've grown to be a better person. um Definitely be yourself. I am not good academically wise on the math side. That's why I'm taking this math class this summer, but I'm not good on the math side, but I showed them my personality, my leadership skills. Like I've been president of some clubs, like I've volunteered for certain things. Like they don't just focus on your academics. You also have to show them, why you're in key club, why you volunteered, stuff like that. It's definitely an experience. But yeah, be yourself. uh never change for the DAPs, because you know, if you do get it and you want your true self, and then when you're trying to bond with these people, you know, they might not like you because you were being fake the entire time. So be yourself, because if you do get it, you're gonna have to show your true self.
Right.
um what else? Open up. Definitely open up. You're going to have to come out your comfort zone. I'm kind of an extrovert at times, but there are times where I'm an introvert. So it was definitely hard to open up to a bunch of these random people, because I'm an extrovert, but with people I'm comfortable with. So it was definitely hard opening up to these people. But becoming an extrovert in these meetings, like, it really shows that you can develop good leadership skills, because in order to be a leader, you kind of have to go out your comfort zone. So I had to go talk to people. I had to go talk to the trainers. I had to go talk to the interviewers, the Posse people that are associated with your college. Like, I had to go talk with them. You can't just sit around and just expect someone to come to you, because that's not what a leader does. You know, you have to branch out. So that I had to do that. Definitely ask questions, you know, because like I know that at the end of every DAP interview I had, there were people who would be like, oh, like, do you have questions for the college that you're going to? Things like that. Because if you do get it and you never ask questions, you might not know what to do now. Because yeah, you got Posse, but there's a lot of steps after that you have to do. Um, so definitely ask questions. That's something that I kind of didn't really do, and now I'm learning the lesson right now. Trying to think of anything else. Give people your socials. I met a lot of good people during the DAPs. Most of them aren't with Posse, but I met them and they're really good people, and I've actually met some really good friends. And yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you said, especially like the whole like put yourself out there, like make yourself comfortable with the uncomfortable, I think is like the main overarching theme, because it doesn't just stop in Posse, like going through the Posse process and, you know, in the interviews in DAP 1, 2, and 3. It like continues in college, like with you have to be in like, especially in like pre-med classes, if you're pre-med or even like engineering, like your basic like psych 101 class or like chem 115 like class is going to be like 300, 400 people. Like I think my gen chem class is like 200 something people, and that's uncomfortable situation to be in. Like it's like, look at all these people in here, and you're like, I don't even know the answer. And you kind of have to be comfortable with turning to the person next to you, even if you don't know who they are, and being like, yo, I am so lost. Do you know what's going on? And from there, you make a friend. Like, I I can't give you personal experience, because that was something that I think I struggled with freshman year, just like reaching out to people and being like, hey, like, I think that is one of my goals though for this year, to be like, okay, let me get more comfortable with other people and like actually talk to them. Because I don't think I really reached out to people and towards the end. And I think that's something I regret of my freshman year. I didn't reach out to people until the end, but definitely being comfortable with the uncomfortable is a big motto that I'm taking into my sophomore year, and something that I think all rising seniors should take into account, especially going through the Posse process. Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. I definitely need to learn more from that, because, you know, you might get Posse, but you also have to reach out even further. You can't just stick to your Posse. Like, yeah, they're gonna be there, but they're kind of the building blocks. You know, like, they're
Mhm.
helping you. They're not people that you're going to. They're not the only people that you're going to have to stick with. You're going to have to meet new people in college. You're going to have to talk to these professors, or if you're going to med school, you're going to have to talk to these doctors, or just like have basically networking. You're going to have to network, and you need to know how to network. I think Posse is definitely a good experience on learning how to network, because you have to reach out to all these people, all these trainers, all these interviewers. It definitely is an experience. And even if, you know, there's people that didn't get Posse but were nominated and went through the whole DAP process, I think they definitely learned something from it on how to network. And also, you know, just like how to go through an interview process, because Posse is a very different interview process, but it was also a difficult interview process. So I feel like if you knew how the Posse interview process was, you can definitely get through another interview process, and it's just a really good learning experience.
Right. It's a building block. And like one of my really closest friends, she went like the entire thing for Tulane and she ended up not getting it. But now like she's like she went through an interview the other not the other day, but like a couple weeks ago for a medical assistant job. And she's like, now I do these interviews like for like medical assistant jobs and things like that. And like I'm like acing them because I just remember Posse and like how much of a building block it was for these other things. So like definitely in all aspects, whether you get Posse or you don't get Posse. If you don't get Posse, it's not the end of the world. Like my friend, she is thriving at Xavier. She got a full tuition to Xavier or full ride to Xavier actually. So she's like, you know what? At the long run, it worked out. So if you don't get Posse, it's not the end of the world. If you do get Posse, congratulations. But just remember that Posse is also a stepping stone and a building block for, other things. Like your Posse is there to have a building, it's a stepping stone to, reaching out to other people as well. They're there for you when you need them, but they're also going to help you branch out as well once you get to college there. But yeah, definitely just Posse, it's a really good stepping stone and building block for everything. Not everything, that's a really broad
Not
statement,
everything,
but
but
college wise.
yeah. A motto that I always want to stick by is like everything happens for a reason. So if you didn't get Posse, it's definitely not the end of the world. It's just something that, it could have helped you, but I feel like you have the potential to earn the things that you want. And if you didn't get Posse, hey, that full tuition at Loyola is looking pretty good. I mean, you may want it to go out of state, but I feel like staying in state to approach this scholarship. And then, maybe if you're going to med school, you could go to med school out of state after you do your undergrad. Like, it's not the end of the world. It definitely isn't. Everything happens for a reason. You didn't get this Posse scholarship, but you got a scholarship in state, a new path
Right.
open.
You will end up where you were meant to be. You will become the person that you're meant to be, no matter what path it is. It might not be the path that, you envisioned, but it is the path that you were supposed to take.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I think that's all of my questions. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, give our listeners anything?
Um, Let me think. Well, good luck to any rising seniors who plan to attend the Posse process. It's a very fun experience. Open up to new people, meet new people. Release your ideas because Posse it's diverse. You can talk about anything and you won't get judged for it. That's what I love about it. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have.
All right. Thank you so much, Gabby. I really appreciate you taking the time.
Okay, thank you for having me.
All right. Oh my gosh.